kept seeing a car go into the water. All day they've been showing me reruns in my mind of Adventures with Purpose. VP's gonna find her in the Prosser Lake.
We have found Kylie Rodney's vehicle. Again, our search for Kylie at Prosser Creek Reservoir on August 21st at 10.
There are plenty of questions and very few answers after 4 students at the University of Idaho were found murdered in their off-campus house.
It's like if you look at Ted Bundy's eyes and you look at his eyes, they're the same. Maybe a little bit lighter. The one thing that I keep seeing is curls. So I don't know if he has curly hair or wavy hair, and that might be when it's grown out. I think he elongated, like his face might be a little bit longer. There's a reference to a pointier type nose. He honestly looks a lot like Ted Bundy, but like a jacked up Ted Bundy. Like not as handsome. I keep getting like a security guard or a badge. Like a Brian or something like that. It's because they are going to catch him. Because I'm seeing him in an orange jumpsuit. He wasn't as smart as he thought he was. Okay. And he's probably going to go to jail for this eventually. I keep getting December. The name Richard again. I also get the name Rick. Damn name Allen is coming in again.
Jailed 50-year-old Richard Allen in connection with the double murder. Teen best friends Libby German and Abby Williams went hiking on a trail and never came home.
Done on November 20th, 2019 at 7:14 p.m. Quentin, but I'm seeing trash and I don't.
9:42 Wednesday morning. Quentin Simon's mom told 911 her little boy was gone.
I do keep hearing a trash truck though. Then I keep hearing the trash truck. It's almost, that's one thing I can't get rid of is the twisting of the trash bag. And so then I'm like, well, is he in the trash? Okay. Unfortunately, I hate to say that. I do hear landfill could be the...
Well, new tonight, a heartbreaking search underway in Georgia for a missing toddler. Police are sifting through trash at a landfill for the remains of 20-month-old Quentin Simon.
And I felt like he was going to be found. That was earlier in the day.
A 3-year-old boy found alive and in good health.
And I said, like, within 3 miles, but I'm not seeing him being hurt, and I'm not seeing someone coming up and getting him.
And I said, were you alone? Yes.
The main 2 things I keep getting is the wooded area and the shed.
Well, to take cover in that shed.
Late into the night to find.
I see him running to the woods. Oh, I keep getting the repeated image of him running to the woods. Okay. So maybe he decided he wanted to go play and then he kind of got lost in the woods. Be within 2 miles. I keep getting a reference to the edge of the woods. And so he's still alive because I'm not using him to get this information.
Right.
Around in the woods like I can't find my way out. I'm stuck. And I said he's in a bush.
Okay. I went across a field of grass. I came up on some woods. Sure enough, I went in the woods and about 100 feet from where I was at. I think he was in some stickers. There's a lot of stickers and all there.
Tonight in our Missing series, a case that we have heard a lot about from our viewers.
He wants to take me down the road to like a neighbor's house or something, like another farm. I also hear neighbor. He said he knows this guy. He knows him. And he's a neighbor. I don't know what the friends come in.
Suspect, 58-year-old James Brenner, who also happens to be Dylan's closest neighbor in the remote desert area of Lucin.
Hi guys, good to see you. So I'm so sorry it's taken so long to do Patreon, but you know, it is what it is. I do the best that I can. Unfortunately, everything takes energy that I do, so along with this and private readings, I'm a bit behind. So I do apologize and appreciate your support in the meantime. and your patience with me as well. So, as promised, we're going to do Michael Jackson before the end of the month. I don't know what's going to come through. I don't know what he's going to talk about. So, I actually don't. I grew up watching Michael Jackson, so I'm aware, of who he is and all of that. I actually really loved him as a kid. I used to be a dancer myself. It was someone that I grew up watching and trying to dance like him and be like him. I think, when all of us girls would hang out and do our dance moves and stuff like that. But, I don't know much about all the scandals or really too much about how he passed or anything in the court or anything like that. So I thought, since I really don't know much of that, I never really paid attention to that. It would be something good to do. So we'll just see what he has to say. I don't really know if he'll say anything or what he's going to talk about. So can't promise it'll be about anything in his life or whatnot. So I already feel him starting to come in. So I'm going to try to, I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping it'll be a strong reading because I could already feel his energy. But I'm just going to explain how I work for those of you that are new, which if you're on Patreon, you're probably not. But in case this ever gets out to the public, yeah. So information can be past, present, and future. It can be symbolic or have multiple meanings. Spirit will often use my references, experiences, how I relate to things to try to explain what they're wanting to say. Things can either be really symbolic or literal. Not everything is literal as I see it. I mean, not everything is literal as I see it. Sometimes it's like symbolic. So Spirit, I'm just translating what Spirit's trying to give me and the way that I feel and the way that I, interpret things. And I'm just going to describe what I see, and it's how we perceive it. So however it makes most sense to the situation and him. Spirit may talk about at any point in their life, at any age. They may talk about their loved ones. They may talk about people surrounding them. So do keep that in mind as things come in. I do get interconnects, so it is possible that others may speak for different things. I don't know. I try not to do that in these cases, but I am just a channel, and whatever Spirit feels like they want to say, they will say. But it should be mostly focused here. So as I get information, Lizzie, who's stepping in tonight, we do miss you, Tammy. We do love you, Tammy, but Lizzie is stepping in when our schedules are out of balance. She's going to validate what she knows. If she doesn't know anything, then she's not going to validate it. She's just going to be there as someone to bounce the energy off of, as I'm giving a reading to them. So it helps me be able to focus more on Spirit and not be so much in my head. So keep in mind that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. If anything comes in like that, this is in no way factual information, but only psychic medium impressions. And I don't know, maybe viewer discretion is advised. I just have to say that because I have no idea what's going on here. And I always give unbiased, unjudgmental readings. I just give what Spirit gives. So I already feel him starting to come in. So I guess we will get started if I can't think of anything that I missed, but who knows? Who knows if I did or not? Okay, there's Lizzie.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, we're doing this at 4 o'clock in the morning. We started to try to get together at 2, but we talk too much.
Yeah, we talk too much.
So how I know he's starting to come in is I'm feeling really out of it. Like extremely, like how I feel whenever people come in with, if they've had something in their system.
Okay.
I feel high, I feel dazed, my head is hurting really bad right now. And I feel sort of out of it. Also, my breathing is a little labored. And he says suppressed breathing, being suppressed. It's hard for me to breathe or catch a breath.
That makes sense.
So there may be things that come through that I do already know. I'm just always going to say what Spirit gives me, but let me see. So he's taking me way back to his childhood. For some reason. He's taking me way, way back. And I hear trauma. So I don't know if there's something that happened in his childhood that maybe people aren't aware of that made him want to change his identity, because that's what's coming in, is he's taking me way back to I'm seeing like the Jackson 5. I'm seeing like him as like a little boy. I'm seeing like how they all looked, like his whole family. Like he's showing me like him with his whole family.
Okay.
And I don't know, like, if the dad was really hard on them, especially him, because was he the youngest?
Yes. Yeah. He was the youngest.
I feel like dad was especially hard on him for some reason, and I don't really know why. Maybe because he had the gifts that he had and his dad wanted him to be something. I feel like it was put into him at a young age and almost like in a forcible way. Not that he didn't like doing it, not like they didn't like doing it.
Janet Jackson's the youngest. My apologies.
Okay. But he's like down there, right? Isn't he on the lower part of the family?
Oh, wait. It says...
He feels really young.
Here, Michael Jackson was the youngest. But then there's like another thing that says Janet Jackson is the youngest. So I don't know which one is true. I'm sorry.
I think he was the youngest because he's showing me like him in the front of everybody singing and he's the smallest or youngest, but he shows me him in the front of everybody singing and he's like the smallest or youngest one there.
Okay, it says here that there was 8 of 10 children from oldest to youngest. Rebby, Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Latoya, Marlon, whose twin brother died in childbirth, Michael, Randy, and Janet.
So he's the third, but he's one of the youngest, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because I took it as youngest because he shows me him as a little boy. So he's one of the youngest ones. But still, for some reason, like they were hard on him. I feel like there's a lot of pressure, you know, like a lot of pressure to do this, do that. And it was always like maybe he was even a little bit controlled in his environment.
Okay.
And I actually feel like there could have been some form of abuse. I'm not saying like he was beat to death or anything like that, but there, you know, some form of abuse emotionally and I mean, maybe even a little bit physically. Like if he didn't do something right, it's almost like he shows me like his dad like smacking him, like upside the head kind of thing, you know. Not like I'm not saying that like you know he beat him or anything like that, but it's almost like you don't do this right, smacked upside the head, or more of emotional kind of turmoil. Like I feel like all this pressure, like I have to be the best, I have to do this. Like it's almost like the Jackson 5, I don't know if they started before he was born or if it all kind of came in around the same time when he got old enough, but it comes across as like he was put into it. Like it's not like he really chose it.
Okay.
You know, it was like it was chosen for him. That's what he's talking about. Not like he wasn't gifted and he couldn't do it, but it was chosen for him. The path was chosen for him. And it's almost like I was living my father's dream. So I don't know if his father had this kind of dream and his father wasn't capable or whatever, but the dream was like pushed on the family.
Okay.
That makes sense. Like it's almost like we recognize that we have this gifted family and we're going to force him to do this. I don't know if it had anything to do with money because it kind of feels like that a little bit, honestly. And I again, I'm not talking bad about the parents or anything like that. I don't want to get sued. This is just what Michael is telling me, that in a way it was like a meal ticket. Okay.
And their father did manage them. He was the manager of the Jackson 5. So,
but it was like he felt like he always had to get it right or he always had to be perfect. That's the way it's coming in. Like there was a lot of pressure on him specifically.
Okay.
And he keeps showing me like the twirl he does, the thing where like you spin. I don't know why. I don't know if that was significantly something he made up. But it's important in some way, shape, or form. Like he either made it up and made it popular or something like that, because it's almost like just something he did one day and then it caught on. And a lot of his moves I feel were from him individually that he made up.
Okay. Now, and I'm not 100, or like, I know some things with Michael Jackson, not in depth, like, you know, like how you have said. So is that twirl part of the moonwalk?
No.
Like, does he twirl and then
It's like
do the
he
moonwalk?
does, like he does the twirl sometimes, and then he does like the thing goes hee hee.
Okay.
But I don't know. I can't remember if he twirl. It's like it's a specific twirl. The moonwalk I feel was definitely his signature and something that he made up and just started doing. But it came to a point where he was forcing this in, or not forced, but like almost like it was put on him, and he didn't feel like he had a choice but to do it. You know, with the Jackson 5, but he grew to love it. You know, he's not saying he didn't ever want to do it. It's not coming across that way. It's just like he didn't have a choice in doing it.
Okay.
And then it's almost like, you know, his dad thought, oh, here's a meal ticket kind of thing. We're going to get a band together because I've got all these kids that are gifted, you know, and which I mean, and I think that may be why, like, later on it fell apart. Because I don't know. It just comes across as like he didn't have a choice but to do it, but it's not like he didn't love it. Like he learned to love it and all of that, like once he got into it. But it was like, I don't know if I'm making sense. Like
you're making sense. No,
he was born into it and he didn't have a choice but to do it. But once he started doing it and stuff, like he did develop a love for it. It's the best way I can explain it. But he also knew he was different. Like, I feel like there's possibly jealousy from other family members because eyes would be on him. He had the charisma for it. And also he had dance moves that the others didn't have.
Okay.
Is the way that it comes across. Like, I feel like there was certain time, like maybe there's a certain point where he started practicing all the time or developing his own moves, things like that.
Okay.
Because I feel like a lot of his moves are original and are literally Michael Jackson moves. Like I feel like he may have picked a lot up because he's showing me like African American kids somewhere that he watched that he got ideas from.
Okay.
So he is wanting to say that they did give him a lot of the ideas. Now, I don't know if this is like on the street, like, you know, he would watch like groups dance or something like that. It comes across as that. So he does want to give credit where credit is due, is what I hear, for others that may have similar moves or even some of the same moves. But I feel like he'd still try to put his own twist on what he did, the way that it comes across. So he tried to make it more original and not just copy.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I still feel like there was some moves that he did make on his own. But I don't know if that's significantly the twirl. It's just that he just keeps doing the spin.
Well, he did create the moonwalk and the robot. So.
Okay. But he's talking about like neighborhood kids, like African American neighborhood kids that maybe he watched or got an idea from as well. So he wants to give credit for that. I'm having a hard time breathing with him, like really bad. So he keeps talking about a producer. Now, I don't know if there was necessarily a producer that took advantage of him. It comes across in that way because Michael talks about how he wanted to change his identity and not be who he was anymore because of things that happened in his life that no one's aware of.
Okay.
But he's talking about a producer, something happening with some sort of producer, whether they took advantage of him or not, I don't know. But he's talking about that all of the surgeries and all of this, like he didn't want to be he didn't want like to be the same person. Like almost it was his way of changing his identity so he wasn't the person that happened to, is the way that it comes across. Now, we have no way to validate that because it's never come out, but that's just what he's saying. And I don't know in what way he's talking about, but because there was a certain age where he was fine for a while, but then he started to kind of change his identity. And part of that identity change too was because so he could be different and stand out from the rest of his group, family, when he started to go off on his own. Part of that is that, but also like he wanted to really change who he was because he didn't want to be that person that happened to. That makes sense.
Okay. Yep.
And that also came with a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety that he hid from a lot of people. He was very good at hiding this kind of stuff from people. And that's why and I got chills with that. And that's why he kind of did what he did. And a lot of people might understand that because he wasn't open about it. It was something that he was embarrassed about and he wanted to keep it to himself. And again, chills. I've got full body chills. Michael's a very strong spirit. I wasn't expecting to. He's just ready to talk. Also, I feel like at the same time, like he never really grew up. He talks about being childlike and wanting to remain childlike. Because there were certain times in his childhood that he did really like. And I think that may be why he kind of connected to kids the way that he did. But he talks about like never really wanting to grow up. And I don't know if that means that at a certain point, maybe his teens is what I'm kind of getting like this maybe happened at. I don't know when the change really happened, but it feels like maybe the teens that he wanted to go back, like he wanted to stay a child and go back to a simpler time when that stuff didn't happen to him.
Okay.
I hope this is right, but I hope I'm perceiving this right, but this is the way that it's coming across.
Okay.
Is that there's stuff in his life that people are not aware of.
Okay.
And he hid it by changing his appearance, by doing what he did. He had a lot of anxiety and depression that he hid and he buried because he didn't want it to ruin his career. I feel like maybe at one point he was threatened about like, if this ever comes out, you'll never, he'll be ruined. That'll be it. And it, like I said, he grew to love it. Like he was forced into it, but he grew to love it. So it was something he did love doing, but he didn't really love doing it as much for himself as he did for everybody else.
Okay.
Like he loved doing it for the people. He was a very like people pleaser person. And that's one reason he always tried to please his dad and please his family. And then as he grew up, it was like, he just tried to please everybody until it got to the point where he wanted to please, please the world. He wanted to please the people that watched him. He wanted to make them happy. To him, performing and watching people and the way that they reacted to his performance was what was important to him. Like that's what gave him the high, was how people reacted to his performances and the crowd and all of that, and I feel like he was always trying to improve and be better, whether it be his songs or his dances. He still wanted to stand out from the crowd and be the king of pop. And he talks about like, he takes me back to Elvis. So I don't know. I know that he married Lisa Marie Presley. I know that. But he still takes me back to Elvis. So I don't know if he actually like used to watch Elvis or had a thing with Elvis, besides the fact of Lisa Marie Presley. Like I said, I know there's that connection there. That could be why he's mentioning it.
Okay.
But it could also be that he's with his father-in-law on the other side.
Okay.
As well. So, but it's like, it's interesting because it's king of pop, king of rock.
I was just going to say that. Just going to say.
So that's why he wants to talk like about that. But he says that was like a destiny. So there's soul tribe there. There's soul family there.
Okay.
The way that it comes across. And that's why he ended up marrying her.
Okay.
And he says that we had a different kind of love because I feel Michael was very guarded in relationships. And he might have even been very confused about his sexuality and very confused about, because this goes back to, I feel like he was taken advantage of.
Okay.
And the man isn't here to defend himself, so I'm probably not going to touch on that whole situation. But if that did happen, it came from probably because it happened to him. But I'm not going to touch on that, I don't think, unless he wants to. But there's that feeling that I'm getting, like I can't let go of this was why he had the issues he had,
Okay.
Which makes sense if you think about it.
Yeah. No, it
You know, it
does.
would make sense for him changing his identity and having the depression and anxiety. He's had everything. Why would someone be so depressed? I mean, yes, there's chemical imbalances, but why would somebody act the way that he acted if nothing ever happened to him? There's something that happened to him in his teenage years that he held away from everybody. So that comes in.
And
like he keeps talking about that, and he's saying that it's not like an excuse for any of his behavior, but he wants people to know and understand like why his behavior was the way that it was, because he says there's a lot of untold stuff here that he never told anybody for out of embarrassment. He just thought he could change how he looked and change who he was in a way. Like he didn't want to be him anymore. From that happening. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. And like I was going to say, like, you know, you got to remember too, like back then it was still very taboo to talk about mental illness and stuff like that. So that makes sense, you know, with what you're.
But he got a different kind of attention from his fans. So that kind of like doing what he loved and his fans were what made his life. It's almost like he shows me like light and dark. Like there's a light side to like that part, and then he had the dark side of himself that maybe he kept hidden or didn't want to show people. And honestly, he's talking about like the mental, like he had mental illness, and I don't know whether it was like kept like if it was diagnosed and kept under wraps or something like that, because he does talk about like his reality wasn't like reality sometimes.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's almost like I don't know how to explain that. I can hear his voice, his soft voice, because I don't know, did he have something happen to his voice? But also too, though, he keeps taking me back to like that's part of why he changed it, because there's multiple reasons it feels like certain things changed, because he keeps taking me back to that Pepsi commercial, and I know like something happened with the Pepsi commercial, and that's one thing I do know about how the Pepsi commercial like blew up, and he had to have major surgery because of that. He had to have plastic surgery because of that. I don't know if that had anything to do with his voice box or whatnot, but there was so that was partly why also some of his surgery was done, because he was scarred up and everything. Like he had to have reconstructive surgery, because he keeps showing me he keeps showing me an image of the Pepsi, and then the fireworks goes off and it gets him. So that he's showing me as part of his. That was another reason why.
Okay.
So there's multiple reasons why he changed and maybe even acted peculiar at times, because he was a very eccentric and odd person. But also he was very compassionate, loving, and giving too, because I feel like I don't know if he did charity work or gave charity, because he's talking about how he still tried to do like it. I don't know if it's only like the Neverland thing, but I don't know if he gave to charities or something like that. Because he keeps also talking about, he keeps taking me to that song, like Heal the World, and he's got like a candle lit. So that could be a message for now, but also I don't know, he wrote that with good intentions.
Okay.
The Heal the World song. So I feel like that was his way of trying to heal the world with music and light. Like he felt like it was a good message.
Well, it says that he donated over 500 million to charity over the course of his life.
That makes sense.
And he's recognized in the Guinness Book of World Records for his philanthropy work.
Okay, that makes sense, because he's talking about how he liked to give.
Yeah.
And the charities specifically, and I think a lot of them were children's charities.
Okay.
And that, like, at the soul and at the heart, Michael was a good person.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, girl, he donated to so many charities.
Yeah.
He donated to like the AIDS Project, American Cancer Society, Atlanta Children Foundation, the Atlanta Project, Big Brothers Big Sisters. Yeah, he donated to a lot.
Yeah. That's what he was.
YMCA.
That's what he was showing. That's a lot of kid stuff. Like I said, he had a thing for kids, but it might not have been what people think.
Okay.
I just feel like he was a child at heart, and he wanted to give. Like, he wanted to give not only his talents and his voice and all of that, but he wanted to give to the world, and that's why he donated what he had. Like, it didn't care how much he had it. Why not donate it? Like, he believed in paying things forward. He is very, like I said, very compassionate, and they show me a gold heart, so he really did have a heart of gold. But deep inside, I feel like Michael was struggling with his identity, who he was, maybe stuff that's happened in his past. Like again, it comes in light and dark. Like, everybody, he says everybody has secrets, and everybody has things that happen to them in their lives, and people just deal with it differently. That's what he's talking about. That's what he says. Was Billie Jean ever number one?
I want to say yes. That was
because he spells out Billie Jean. I actually danced to that when I was younger, but he spells out Billie Jean, and it's my favorite song of his. And he goes number one on there. So that's why I'm wondering if he ever got it. And I also see a gold record. So I don't know if he ever got a gold record, or he probably has multiple ones, but I don't know if it's specifically for that song. But
oh wow, that reached number one on the Billboard Hot 100 and stayed there for 7 weeks.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting because he knows I know that song. But I wonder if he got like a gold record or anything like that. Like, I don't know if that's like an award or something. They just show me a gold record. It might be, because I think back then they used to do like the gold records. I don't know if they do anymore.
I think you're right with that.
He's dancing in my head. He's doing that thing where like you go up on your toes. Like, he's showing me that right now for some reason. But he talks about like his favorite and most funnest one was the Thriller one. The Thriller. He talks about that being really big too.
Okay.
I hear the words "my estate," so I don't know. I know we talked about that kind of being under siege right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know why he's showing me this. He showed me like the old VCR tapes.
Okay.
So I don't know if they found VCR tapes or someone saying they exist, or if he used to film stuff. But it's like the old VCR, the ones that's the ones I see, videotapes.
Okay.
Okay. So he says what he felt was normal to him may have not been normal to other people in the way that he reacted to children.
Okay.
That's what he's talking about. So like, he shows me in his mind he didn't grow up, so he didn't consider himself like a man.
Okay.
So like when he would have kids over and stuff like that, to him it didn't seem wrong because he felt like he was on their level. I don't know if that makes sense. But it's
I mean, if you have the mentality of a child and you've
that's what I mean. Like he comes across as like, hold on, I lost the picture. He comes across as like he didn't consider himself, like he was still stuck in like the child mentality a lot of the time. like he knew, I don't know how to explain this. Like he knew like he was obviously a grown up, but it's almost like he had two personalities. And when he would hang out with the kids, it was like he was on their level.
Okay.
So that's like, and I really feel like the whole thing with Neverland, it wasn't like a predator trap. Doesn't come across that way. It's like he put all the things that he liked to do there that he knew kids would like to do. So he wanted to make it a fun place for kids.
Okay.
I don't know if eventually he ever wanted to open it up to like public, because I don't know if only certain people were allowed to go there. But I feel like his dream was to eventually have it to where it could be like an amusement park.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what stopped him from doing that or why it didn't, but it's almost like that was his like main goal, main dream at some point. And maybe he got to the point in his mentality where he did it, like he couldn't do it, but originally he comes across as saying like that was his original goal, was to make it like an amusement park for kids and he put in there everything that he would have liked as a kid.
Okay.
So he mimicked it off of his likes and things like that. And so he keeps showing me like, I don't want to misperceive this part. He keeps showing me like boys in underwear, but him hanging out with them. But he's talking about it as like he was on their level. Like he was thinking they were all kids, like hanging out like that. Like that's how he brings it across.
Okay.
But I don't know if anything was done any further.
Okay.
But he says now he looks back on it and there was some inappropriate things.
Okay.
But at the time he didn't consider it that because he was thinking I don't know how to explain this. It's like I'm a child, but I'm a man. I'm a man child. I don't know. Like I'm like a child, like in a man's body in the long run. But obviously I still know I'm an adult because I do adult things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it other than that. Like when he would get with kids, it was like he felt like he was one of them. And he was trying to maybe replay his childhood or do things he didn't get to do in his childhood because he was so focused on the Jackson 5. Like I don't think they did a lot of that kind of stuff. Like as far as like having him going to amusement parks and things like that. Like things that kids do. Yeah. So I think in a way he was wanting to relive his childhood. And I don't think he had a lot of friends maybe when he was younger. So he gravitated towards kids because maybe they understood him better than adults did. That's the way that it comes across.
Okay.
I have no idea if any of this is making any sense because I'm not a psychologist. That's just, I'm trying to explain the best way that I understand it. And it's like he's not trying to make excuses, but that's how like he saw things at the time. Like he didn't see any wrong with the certain things that he did.
Okay. It makes sense. I mean, if
and
you have the mentality of a child, you know.
And just like he would like, he's showing me the part and I hear blanket. So I know that's his kid's name, but I heard it. But he shows me a blue blanket with it. But he shows me like, you know, the one where they're like standing over the balcony with him. He never meant for that to be anything dangerous to his kid. He was just trying to show him to the world. I go back to the Lion King. When Mufasa holds up his baby like that. Like that's what he's trying to do. And he's referencing that as a reference. So he's referencing a child's movie, The Lion King, as to what he was doing. It wasn't like he was trying to kill his kid or anything like that. Like it was like he was trying to show him off and he didn't think anything of it. Like I feel like he wasn't lucid a lot of the time. Honestly, it's almost like I'm in a different state or something. I don't know. And whether that had to do with things he was taking or that's just his mentality, I'm not really sure.
Okay.
But he references the Lion King movie. So like that was his Simba. Okay. And I don't know if a blue blanket has anything to do with it, but he keeps showing me a blue blanket. So I don't know. I don't
remember.
He was named after a specific blanket or what. I don't know. Because I know he named his kid Blanket, which is really odd. But again, he's an odd duck. He knows he's an odd duck. He's very different. And that's what made him who he was. Like he didn't want to be normal anyways, but he wasn't normal.
Okay.
He was unique in a lot of different ways. So he keeps talking about, though, there was a certain time in his life, it's almost like things shifted. people started to control him a little bit. And he was always one that was very open. Like, he liked to do his own thing. He was usually in control of his own stuff for the most part, as far as, you know, all of the I don't know if he switched. I don't know if it's when he switched managers or switched producers. There's some kind of switch that happens. And all of a sudden it's like he's blocked off from people that he was originally around.
Okay.
So he keeps talking about he's talking about a bodyguard that he had that he was actually friends with that got pushed out. And because I feel he had a couple bodyguards, but there's one insignificant, he's an African American guy. He keeps showing him to me. I don't know if maybe he wrote a book or it came public about something, but he shows me like a book with this African American guy, and he says like he was a bodyguard. So I don't know if he got fired once this new management or new something happened. There's something that happened around before his passing that shifted in either a manager or something like that, to where he was taken apart from like where the people he was used to be around, and a lot of firings took place and stuff like that. Like, he was literally taken and started to control. That makes sense. Like, he was kind of cut off from people that and controlled. Like, he shows me one time where the bodyguard tried to come see him and they wouldn't let him.
Okay.
So I don't know if this I don't know if this actually happened or whatever, but it comes across as there was like people that got cut off from his life when something like some kind of shift happened or something in his career, like prior to his passing. He just said I fell for it. So I don't know. Almost like people had like different intentions. Also, he takes me to Hollywood being very dark. I don't know why he's talking about this all of a sudden, but he's showing me like Hollywood and what it does to people, or the music business, or any of that, like what it does to people, how it changes them and all of that, and how there is like darker entities and there is a lot of abuse going on in the entertainment industry. Like, that's what he's talking about right now. So I don't know if he's just highlighting that for what's going on now, but also maybe something that happened to him. But anyways, I'm starting to feel really drained, like I want to sleep. So I think he's talking about like having problems sleeping. So I don't know if he had issues sleeping, because I feel like that he started to have a lot of stuff like he says what's it called? Insomnia.
Okay.
Like he's saying like he started to suffer from insomnia.
Okay.
And he's talking about trusting someone for help with that, with the insomnia. So I hear the words like he got carried away with treating him for that. And I hear like I trusted him, like he didn't know any better. It comes across as like maybe he put his trust in the people that were taking care of him at the time and the people that were taking care of him medically at the time. Like he put his trust in them, and he's saying like he shouldn't have. Like they took advantage. They took advantage of his trust and his insomnia and his other issues. Because he talks about being over medicated, but I feel like I'm over medicated prior to my passing. So not necessarily at that time. So I don't know if the doctor was also giving him other medication as well as like medication to help him sleep.
Okay. And I know they were giving him medication to help sleep, and I'm pretty sure he was on other medications as well that they were prescribing.
Because he's talking about being over medicated, and there becoming a point like during the day he couldn't even function, but he talks about nobody caring about that.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like they ignored it.
Okay.
And also, I don't know if for some reason there seems to be money involved, whether it be he signed over stuff to somebody prior to his passing, or that they were going to get a payout at some point, whether it be managers, producers, doctors, whoever it is. Because he says, what's the word? I have the word right there, and it's not murder. It's gosh, what is the word? He said it too, and I was going on something else, and I can't get it back. Manslaughter. Okay. So he's talking about it being that because he said there was a disregard. Now he shows me a heart monitor or a monitor that you would have that would monitor your heart and your things like that. He shows me it going all wonky, and there are alarms going off, and I don't know if nobody cared or paid attention or anything like that. Because I feel like there was a warning at some point, either leading up to his passing or prior to his passing, that took place that was ignored with his health. Because I feel like all of these things on his system literally had an effect on like his heart.
Okay.
And that may be why I'm having a hard time breathing, but it feels like it was a lot of the medication and stuff like had an effect on his body, like a negative effect on his body. And I feel like there started to be something, because when he shows me the like the monitor, and it's like the lines, right? And it's the heart is next to it. So I think he's showing me the heart line, like, but he's like all over the place. So I don't know what point this was, but there was warnings that they should have gotten him medical help and not continue to medicate him, and they were ignored.
Okay.
Because I feel like also I hear like malpractice. Like I also feel like in a way he said it was premeditated. Like this might have been hold on. So it comes across as like almost like a pre-planning, because things were ignored. Like I don't know where the money or whatever comes in around this situation, but there's some kind of like reasoning.
Okay, so the doctor,
like it wasn't it doesn't come across as an accident.
The
like,
doctor who was caring for him got involuntary manslaughter. So
that's why I got manslaughter. Oh, that's the word I was trying to think of for like.
Okay, so I don't know if that's what came in, and he was also getting paid like $150,000 a month to be Michael's doctor.
So that's
so
where
there's your money.
But I'm just wondering if there was something attached to, like, if something happened to Michael, life insurance or some kind of payout. If I don't know, there's something besides that like if Michael passes away, like something about a chunk of money going somewhere.
Okay.
But it's almost like I hear like the disregard for human life. But at the same time, Michael says I was pushy and I wanted certain things. But he could have said no, but I still would have been stubborn about it. Because he, in a way, wanted the pain to stop a lot of the time that he was feeling and a lot of the things he was going through. And I also think there was medical stuff going on with Michael that we're not aware of.
Okay.
And I don't know if they probably did an autopsy, but because they had to if they went to court.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, if he was in pain all the time, if there was something going on where he was in pain all the time, or it feels like an emotional level too. But still, like, he doesn't come across as saying like this doctor didn't sit me down and explain like the ramifications and like all of that. Like, but at the same time, I don't know if Michael was at a point where if he cared if he lived or passed at that point.
Okay.
Like that's kind of how it comes across. But at the same time, like he didn't have people that caring for him that actually cared.
Okay.
You know, that actually would try to get him help or talk him into help. Like, I don't even know if he even received any psychological help for his situations because it doesn't come across that way either. Like, I don't feel like he received the help he should have had. He was just medicated and here you go. It wasn't like the right medications and it wasn't the medications that he really needed or to like have the mental health part of it either. Because I feel like he really did need mental health.
Okay. He probably didn't get the mental help that he needed. I mean, it was so, it's just so taboo surrounding it, especially then, I mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they gave him that mental health. Like, they could have went around about things a different way, which Michael was stubborn. He wanted what he wanted anyways. But I don't think things were like explained to him in the way that they should have been. But at the same time, he was. So I'm just wondering if, like, I don't know, because he's almost like, it was almost, I don't know if I want to say this because I don't know how it makes sense. And I don't know if he said anything to the doctor or whatnot, because it's almost like I also get like assisted suicide. But I don't really know how that makes sense because it could be coming across like he didn't really care if like he lived anymore. Like, I feel like he was at that point in his life where his depression got so bad and everything got so bad. And I feel like although he had all these people that loved him, he was really focused on the people that were trying to ruin him and all of that in his life. And he said people just took from him and had no regard. They just used him. He talks about a lot of people using him, his family, his friends, whoever that may be. He was being used all the time for his money or whatever else, because he had such a big heart and he would give all the time.
Yeah. He was easily taken advantage of.
Yeah, he was. He was very easily manipulated and taken advantage of is what he's talking about. So, does he have 2 kids?
Yes.
Okay. Because he's talking about 2 kids and he says one is a lot like him. I want to go to Blanket. For some reason, I don't know if that's the firstborn or the lastborn. I'm not really sure, but he might be the only one I know about. But and that might be why he's referencing him, because I don't really know much about the other one. But for some reason, like, I don't know if it's looks, because I feel like they got the same hair, but like looks and maybe even personality, like he's worried about him being taken advantage of too and maybe getting in with the wrong part of the industry, because I don't know if he's out there in some way, shape, or form, but he's just a little concerned because I feel like they have maybe similar personality as far as being taken advantage of. He comes across as he's worried, like he's really sensitive, like he was, like they share some of the same qualities.
Okay.
And I think even their looks are similar. He keeps talking about the hair, like the hair is long or something, like he has his hair. And I think maybe he's kept that for his dad. I don't feel like he's ever looked down on his dad. He says, I always showed them love. So I don't think he ever abused his kids or anything like that. He talks about just having like an immense love for them, and surprised that he was he even had kids. Because again, I feel like he was very sexually confused, and even seeing him with the woman was odd, right? Because he comes across as someone that goes kind of the other way, and I think maybe a lot of people thought of that, like thought he was like that or something,
Okay.
But he didn't know how to show love as much as like most people do. He said that him and Lisa, like they just had an unspoken, they were like good, like really good friends, but there was love there. But I don't know if there was like as much like like, attraction and intimacy and stuff, because I feel this block up with Michael when it came to love and affection, like towards, maybe older women or something. Because I remember he still has the mind of a child. Like, that's how he's coming across. So I think for him to like be in relationships and stuff, it was just really like odd feeling to him.
Okay,
like
unnatural.
Yeah, that's why it kind of comes across. And I think that people thought that like his relationship with Lisa was like a front. But he says no, that there was love there. Like we really did love each other. But it doesn't feel like, it just feels like a friendship love. And he really wanted kids too. But they cared for each other, and I feel like she knew him a lot better than like a lot of people knew him.
Okay.
Like Michael was kind and compassionate. You can say anything you want about him, but you can't negate that, because of his actions showed that in his life. And he says he always tried to put the good into the world because the world needs the good. He says, he's not perfect. He's made mistakes, but he says sometimes people just focus on the bad when you're gone, regardless of how much good you do.
Okay.
There goes my dog that can't hear again. Let me know, spirits here.
While you're on his kids, blanket, and maybe this is why you got it, when he was talking about a blanket, that's how he got his name. He was born Prince. I guess he likes to be called Biggie now, but Michael would always put like a blanket over his face to hide his face when he was born. So that's how he got the name Blanket.
Oh. So that might be, so like, it's almost like he didn't want to show him, but then when he did, like, he wanted it to be like a Mufasa Lion King thing. Yeah. Okay. He didn't want anybody making a bunch of money off of the tabloids with him.
Yeah.
Like, that was one thing, is that he was really protective over his kids anyways. Like, I do feel
he made them wear masks and stuff outside so that, like you said, I think, the tabloids didn't make money.
Yeah. So, because he didn't want anybody making money off of them. Like, he was very protective of him in that way. And he's still being protective of him, because I feel like Blanket might be out there more than the other one. I don't really know much about anything. Like, I don't know much about the other one. Is the other one older? Is Blanket the younger one?
I think, let me see. Because that I'm not sure of. Who was born first?
All right. Well, I don't know. It's almost like he just has more of his dad's personality.
And, I'm sorry, Biggie is the one who was known as Blanket, is 21.
Oh, so he has 3 kids.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought he only had 2, and I thought Prince was the one that they called Blanket.
But is it 2 boys and 1 girl?
Yes.
Okay, that's why. Because he's giving me the 2 boys. Because sometimes they'll do that. They'll separate the genders. So, sorry, I had the number of kids wrong. But I was
sorry, I had the names wrong. I said it wrong. I thought Prince was the one that they call Blanket, and now goes by Biggie. But no, Biggie's the one that was known as Blanket. He would cover his face.
And I should have gotten the name Prince, because I had a dog named Prince. But yeah, he has interesting names for his kids.
Yes.
And I think the P's had something to do there. Like, it's weird, like Prince and Paris and Presley.
Yeah.
It kind of made me think of it. But, that's just how he was. He was eccentric. Like, he wanted, like, eccentric, unique names for his kids.
Yeah.
But 2 boys and a girl, that's probably why I was getting the 2. Because I was wanting to relate them to the boys. So, but was Blanket the youngest one?
Yes, and Blanket is the one from the pictures. He does resemble Michael more than I would say the other 2.
Because it comes across as like that's the one that is most like Michael, and I think sensitive and everything like that. Like, people will take advantage of him if he's not careful. So there's that message there for him to, be careful and don't let people take advantage of you. And I don't know if like he's out there like social media or something like that. But he's concerned that I hear like the pariahs, like he doesn't want the pariahs to come after his kids of the entertainment industry. Like he doesn't want them to follow in any kind of footsteps, because it feels like there's some kind of talent there. And it could be too that they're just, people watch them and stuff because they're his kids as well. But he's like, now they're old enough to take care of themselves, and he's just a little concerned about the world and his kids. Because he's not really there to teach them, like, and he hasn't been there for a long time to teach them like the dangers of like the entertainment industry and people and all of that. And because things that he didn't know himself growing up at their age or whatever. Like, and because he says like he wasn't really taught that either. I had to find out the hard way. Because I feel like he was taken advantage of a lot in his career. And again, people manipulated him and with the whole money aspect and all of that. Like, I feel like they took from him and, but he was a very giving person. He didn't look at it like that. Like somebody needs help, he's going to help them, and then again, with the charity thing, like that's just how he was. That's just the person he was. And I wouldn't use that name pariah, so that's him.
I was gonna say that. I'm like, that's not
my word.
That's not your word.
I don't think I've ever used that in my life. I even have to probably look up what the meaning is.
I'd have to look up proper spelling first.
So what he's talking about too, like with his estate, like he's concerned that it's going to take away from his children. Because I feel like he left like his estate. Did he leave it to his kids? I feel like there was somebody else in charge of it, but it's supposed to go to his kids at some point.
I think so. I was in charge or any of that. I know there was a lot surrounding it, and something just came up recently.
In his mind, he feels like that is like that situation with those people is becoming bigger than what it was. Like there might be some truth to it, but it might be also that things are exaggerated, or there might be some lies thrown in to make things worse than they were, because he's not here to defend himself, but he's not saying that he did not act inappropriately. In his mind at the time, it wasn't appropriate, but he's saying that they are going to try to make it more of a bigger deal than what it is.
Okay.
Because,
and he's not here to defend himself.
What? My deaf dog just looked at me and barked. I think he definitely feels energy shifts and stuff.
He definitely does, because that's so weird.
Yeah.
He's deaf.
He's looking right here at me, like behind me. And he barked behind me. Surprised Cheyenne isn't, because she usually does too. But I think he feels the vibrations or something. But I don't know. Does he still get money off like his songs and stuff? I also feel there was some songs that weren't released or something that he made. Or was he supposed to have a concert and it didn't happen or something like that? But then there was supposed to be new songs that didn't get out. I feel like someone's got songs somewhere that didn't get released that might come out later. I don't know why they wouldn't come out already.
I know. I think he had a concert, like he was at a concert, maybe not feeling well, like the day he had passed. But I'm not.
Because it's almost like he shows me like a bunch of people like a concert. So I don't know if he was like, this happened in the midst of like a concert or a tour. That's how it comes across. But then also, she's talking about refunding tickets. Like tickets had to be refunded. But also there's something about like new songs that he had that he didn't get to do. Like he was going to do a bunch of the old ones, but there was some new ones. And I don't know if he just wrote them down or if they were recorded or not, because for some reason he kind of shows me like a recording studio. Like there may, but I don't know if the people have like, I don't know if someone's stopping like that from coming out. Hey.
Okay.
Hold on a second. What the? Thank God for pause button. But there's something about like he recorded a song or he had new songs that haven't been released or something like that that he was going to do at his tour.
There are unreleased songs of Michael Jackson's. There's like a list of them, like the most famous like lost songs and unreleased albums and stuff like that of his. So I don't know if they're.
I wonder if there's gonna like if anybody's ever gonna release those, because he wants them released. Like he's saying like he wrote them. He wrote them for that reason. You know, like he wrote them to be like, why else would he write them and have them? Like he wrote them to be released.
Now it says here.
I hear like anniversary album.
Here, I can't stand it sometimes with what you get. Oh my God, I can't stand it. You freak me out. In May of 2022, it was announced that Sony Music and the estate of Michael Jackson will release a new album with new music coming out in the fall to honor the 40th anniversary of Jackson's Thriller album. I can't take it.
Yes. Thank you, Michael. Good validation, because I had no idea about that. So that's this fall.
No, I think it would have been 2022 because it was released May. The article came out May of 2022. So if it was that fall, it would have been like September, October of 2022. But I don't know if it was ever released.
Maybe it hasn't been, and it's gonna come up. But he's talking
November 18th. It was supposed to be out
of last year.
Yeah.
Would you stop? He's here because my dog's freaking out.
I know. It's giving me the chills.
Because he's looking at me while he's barking. He's not, and like I said, he doesn't hear, so he's not hearing anything.
Yeah, you know what the dog's probably getting from him? These two are doing a reading on me, and nobody knows nothing about it.
Probably. I need to make my presence known. But that right there is validation for me, because I had no idea about any of that. I did not know about that because he was talking about it. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if that's going to come out and go towards his estate. He wants these people paid off. Like, he doesn't care. He just doesn't want it to take away from his kids. Because he says, like, he's like, I'm not there to defend myself or explain or any of that. And I think even so, like, he would have just paid him off anyways if he was here. Like, that's how he comes across. But again, to him, it wasn't like as it's going to come out. To him, he's saying like it wasn't what the person's going to say. Like they're making like a bigger deal, or there might be lies mixed in with truths. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like exaggerating to what actually had happened.
Yeah. But I don't know. There's still something about tapes, so I don't know what they show or whatnot. But there's something about tapes somewhere. Like, so I don't know if like he had a camera somewhere and they kept the tapes, or someone has a tape or something like that. But that comes in. Are you done yet, Michael? I gotta go to bed. I'm gonna sleep all day again. Dang it! All right.
He's very strong.
He is. And you know that too, because I don't know if you've seen like EVPs where they've actually got his voice in them and stuff. Like, he seems to come in a lot. But I think he just really like wants his voice out, because I don't think a medium sat down and talked to him.
I'm not sure.
I don't know either. But he keeps relating back to Elvis for some reason. Like he's with Elvis or something, which makes sense. But because he has family in, the long run. But for some reason, I don't know why he showed me that. But maybe it was his idol or something. No one just realized it or anything. I don't know.
Maybe that's why he wanted to be like, you know, the king of pop. He was the king of rock, and
Yeah.
maybe, you know, idolized him and to
Yeah.
become, you know.
I mean, he had to have known about him, so maybe he idolized him and no one really knows, you know, it just happens to be that he gets with his daughter. Like, maybe that was kind of a plan. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know. But there's something about, I don't know where him and Lisa met, but he shows me like seeing her across the room somewhere or something. There's some kind of, I don't know if they were like at a party or something like that, but or if they met through people, but it's almost like I'm on one side and I see her on the other side. So I don't know if it's symbolic or not, but but I'm just wondering also if there's a part of his estate that can't be touched because it belongs to the kids. Like, I wonder if there's like it's split up that way, you know what I mean? Like, there's some for like the kids that can't be touched, and then there's some for like other stuff or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know. He just did that hee hee in my head. He's dancing stuff. So he's still dancing, obviously, on the other side. I think that he liked dancing more than singing, honestly. Like, he's just like dancing over there.
I can see it.
He says, like, with his God, like, he was God given those gifts. And so he did what he was supposed to do with them. He said, like, again, sometimes he got off track, and sometimes he wasn't a perfect person, and I feel like he's always gonna be remembered. There's some kind of memorial something. He shows me like a memorial thing, so I don't know where they put this memorial thing at. Did he also get a star, like a Hollywood star?
I think so.
Because he's showing me a Hollywood star, but then he shows me a memorial, and the memorial is like this. It's like a bronze. It looks like a bronze thing, and it's got like him engraved in it, and then it's got that might even be a tombstone. I don't know, but it seems like a memorial stone somewhere.
Okay, he has 2 stars on the Hollywood Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Okay, because he was showing me his stars, which, I mean, I know that's obvious, guys, but he still wants to show it. So.
Is it like a statue? Like a...
Yeah, it looks, well, the way it comes across is it's just like a memorial, but...
Okay, well, there's a bronze statue.
And it's bronze that I see.
Hat on.
Oh, okay. Where's that at? Is that like at a park or something?
Yeah.
Because I was getting like a park. Is there a bench by there by chance?
Let me see.
It's almost like there's a bench, a statue, and it's like
there's
a park.
It looks like there's a bench behind it. Like, see?
Yeah.
Like, it almost looks like a stone, like whether it's like a wall, like / bench.
And where is that, a park or is like a memorial park?
It looks like let me see where it's.
Because you show me the bench, like people could sit there and like, I don't know. He says he was honored in a lot of different ways, and he's thankful for that. He's glad that he left that footprint on the earth, because that's what he was supposed to do, was leave that kind of footprint on the earth. And he did what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to fill lives with happiness and joy and all of that all of his moves and his songs made. And he always he says he got the creativity from the higher power. Like, he says things would just flow through him when he would write his music or whatever. Like, he feels like that came from another place.
Okay.
And I think that he was actually spiritual, but maybe he didn't show that side, because he shows that he was very spiritual. Almost get like a Buddhist vibe. I don't know if that's the kind of spirituality he was, but he comes across as very spiritual. Different than, like, I mean, he might not have shown that to people, but I still feel like maybe he did. Like, he was like he's got like the spiritual side. And he keeps taking me back to Heal the World. Like, that song is important right now. He's talking about, like, he wrote that for then and he wrote it for the future. Like, because that's what that's what he's saying. Like, the world needs to be healed from a lot of things that are going on and a lot of things that went on. And he says if people would just do little acts of kindness, here we go again with this, people would just do little acts of kindness. And you know, he shows me like shaking people's hands and just like doing little things. He says in the judgment, like, people need to quit being so judgmental of people in their lives. Like, they don't know what they've been through. They don't know where they come from. A lot of people judge people and they don't know their story. They don't know their path. They don't know their journey. And so that's what he's talking about, is the judgment. Like, people need to not judge books by its cover, because nobody walks a mile in somebody else's shoes.
Yeah.
Across. But he says, I want to thank all my fans for all the love that they continue to give me, and they continue to give me. He said some people that, you know, they look at me like the best part of me, and he appreciates that. He appreciates for the good he is remembered for, because he did want to leave a legacy, and he feels like he left a legacy, and that was really important to him to leave that legacy. He says he's going to come back at some point in the future. I hear like try to do it over again, and people will see the similarities. They'll see the similarities, but they won't, like, they might even recognize certain things that he does, whether it be the dance moves or whatever. I don't know why he's telling me this, because it won't be for a while. I don't think it's gonna, but I feel like there'll be someone that emerges that's similar to him. That will be him. I don't know why he's talking about this. Like, he wants to kind of come back eventually. It's weird because it's almost like on one of those talent shows or something. But also he shows me that there are, you know, imitators and stuff like that. Like he laughs at that, kind of like people trying to be him. He says like he's honored that they do that, but at the same time it's kind of funny.
Okay.
And he talks about big shoes to fill. But and he doesn't say that like in a narcissistic way or anything. It's the truth. But I don't know. It's weird because he's talking about like Elvis impersonators. Like, he's going back to Elvis again. I don't understand what his thing is with Elvis and why.
Well, there's a lot of Michael Jackson impersonators.
I know. Well, I know that there's a lot of even on TikTok, like there's a lot of Michael Jackson impersonators, but there's also like there's a guy that I watch that dances a lot like him. Like, he reminds you of him. He's like a Oriental or something, but he doesn't look it, and he looks like Michael, and he dances like Michael and everything. Like, he's pretty good. I watch him sometimes because it seems like you're watching Michael. But obviously Michael hasn't come back yet, or I wouldn't be able to channel him. But
yeah.
But I feel like he wants to, or there's a plan to, and it's almost like it'll be a big deal because it'll be like he's very similar in ways. He keeps showing me like those shows. I don't know why he's showing me this. Or how would he? Maybe I'm misunderstanding. I don't know. But there's, you know, like America's Got Talent, like AGT and stuff like a show like that. He's referencing a show like that, but I don't know. Maybe within the next 20 years, because there's something about 20 years. If the world's still here. I hate to say that, but the way we're doing it, I don't know. If we're not, who knows? We might be in space by then. I don't want to be here when we get to space. I don't want to live the Jetsons.
No.
Also, it's weird. He's showing me a coin with his face on it. So, are there Michael Jackson coins? Also, there's a museum that I keep seeing, but I don't know. It's weird because he shows me why he's going back to Elvis. I have no idea. Maybe Elvis is there with him and Elvis is talking. But there's something about a museum, and you know that white fringy outfit that Elvis used to have? It was white and it had the fringes on it. He shows me that in like a museum. So is there an Elvis museum with that in it?
Okay, so there is a coin. There are coins with Michael Jackson's face on it.
Weird
There
stuff he's
is
bringing
a
in.
museum with 4 floors of exhibits, and
So I
his
know
like
that
costumes
he
and
was
stuff are there. But do you want to know if it's Michael Jackson and Elvis?
well, yeah.
together?
Because Michael, he was saying that he had one, but then he switched it to like it's like Elvis has one too.
Okay.
Hey, stop it! What are you doing? What the hell?
Oh, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley jackets at Harley Davidson Museum.
Like together?
Mm-hmm. They're on display. That was
That
in
might be why he's
2012.
talking about Elvis. Like they put him together or something.
That was in 2012. So that might be the jacket because his jacket had fringes, and if their jackets are both there.
Yeah, because he keeps talking about like it came in as like a multiple meaning thing. Like here, I have a museum, but then he brought it in with like Elvis and the fringy thing. So I guess they're like together, like so there's like you know what I mean, like they're together, like he keeps relating it's like them being together. So yes, if they have 2 jackets at the same museum, that would make sense.
Yeah.
As to what
And I
he's
think
trying to
they
say.
were also like, you know how they do like the wax figures? I think they both have like are in a wax museum.
So that's what I'm saying, like he keeps referencing him, like maybe people think of them together or put things of them together because they're king of pop, king of rock. Like that's how it comes across. And
Okay.
like he's proud about that. That's something he's very proud about because again, big shoes to fill for him. So again, I don't know if he like looked up to him or whatever when he was growing up, but there's Elvis also had the moves.
Okay. Yep.
So they're like a soul family thing. Like he shows me, I freaking see Elvis now. So they're standing with Elvis on the other side, and Lisa Marie's there. Like they're all together. Like that's what he shows me.
Elvis wants a reading.
And what obviously I think, and what else is because that's twice now he's come in a reading. I don't know much about Elvis. I grew up listening to Elvis, but like I don't know like deets on him or anything like that. But it's like there's a bunch of people behind him.
Okay.
It's weird because like usually whenever I see spirit, like they step into the light to talk to me, to communicate with me, and then it's like a waiting room kind of thing where they come in to talk to me and I just see them surrounded by light. But then sometimes they step back and they're standing with loved ones, and so that's what he's doing. He's got Elvis there and he's got Lisa Marie there, like one on one side and one on the other. He's in the middle, and then he's got a ton of people behind him. You could just see like spirits behind him, but you can't really see who they are. So they're all here for this reading, basically.
Okay.
On the other side, which is why I feel like I could pass out right now and I probably won't wake up so late. Because for some reason he's making this out to be a big deal with me, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if he's just being thankful that he's getting his words out, and I hope to God that I am communicating them correctly, because I would never want to miscommunicate or misperceive things, especially in this, from someone like him. But I must be, because he seems very thankful, very like happy that he got to talk. And apparently we've had an audience on the spirit side this entire time. Which he's used to audiences. So
yes.
They still give him one there. I feel like he still performs for them over there.
He probably does.
And he'll come back with a similar life. It won't be the same, but I feel like he'll have like the similar gifts or something. Like he kind of wants a bit of a redo.
Okay.
But he's learned certain lessons, so there'll be something. There'll be something. I think the way that it comes across, but he's got an audience. We all got an audience right now. No pressure or anything.
Yeah. Right.
But I'm glad he showed me that now at the end of the reading. Towards the end of the reading,
instead of the beginning.
Yeah. And so he shows me a rainbow. I always take that as like, they're happy and safe on the other side. I still haven't figured out what my symbolism is for that yet. That was weird. he just started showing me like light, like surrounding me. I had to look up because the way,
I saw that. I'm like,
the way that it came across was like he's above me and he's shining this light on me, and I don't know how to take that. I'm not trying to be like I'm special or anything. It's just that's what he's trying to.
You are special.
I mean, I don't look at it like that, but he's trying to make me that way right now.
Maybe you're the star. Maybe that's what he's saying. Like, you're the star tonight, you know? All the lights are on you.
Oh my gosh. He's shining lights on me. It's crazy. And now he's showing stars around the lights. It's very interesting. I've never had a vision like that or any spirit do that to me before. So I must have said what I needed to say for him correctly, or he would have not done that. I just blew him. He just blew me a kiss and said thank you, and I blew one back. In my head, I blew one back. But he says, I really am just a normal person. I'm a normal soul. I just had, like, again, he built his legacy and he did what he was supposed to do. He did bring light to the world through his music, because people don't understand music as vibration. So it brings your vibration up. And so that was a part of what he was supposed to do, was to share love and share light through his music and bring the vibration higher when you listen to it. And I'm getting chills on my legs with that. So a lot of people don't understand that. The entertainers that are like him, where they raise our vibration, they're doing more than just singing and dancing for us. They're raising our vibration and bringing us to another level. And a lot of times their songs have meaning, have messages and things like that, if we listen to them. And a lot of them are written from their heart and all of that. He's going like this, that. To his fans and to us. And I'm getting that, like how he used to look when he would wave. Like I can see him doing that. I can see him doing that, like as he's like turning to walk away, like that wave. His hair is down. He doesn't look the same. He looks more beautiful. I think the way he always wanted to look without all the work. It's like a more beautiful Michael Jackson, but natural. If I could, like, his face looks natural over there.
Okay.
I can still recognize him. He's got the long hair and he's like in one of his like suits. Elvis is standing there with his fringe suit on. A young Elvis
is like, I'm next.
Elvis has been present for 2 readings now. So Elvis in the house. I don't know. So Elvis is showing me a yellow rose because I relate that to my grandmother. My grandmother was a huge Elvis fan, and there is a song called Yellow Rose that I grew up listening to. So he's showing me a yellow, and I actually got a yellow rose for my grandma right there.
Oh.
So it's interesting that he's showing me that. So I don't know if he's trying to say like he met my grandma or whatever, which my grandma would probably die. Even though she's on the other side. She loved Elvis. Like, we listened to Elvis records all the time. I grew up watching Elvis movies, but like I don't know any of the background. I think her birthday is the day that he passed, August 16th. So, there's like a huge connection to Elvis there with her. She loved the guy. So I think that's why he's handing me the yellow rose, because the Yellow Rose song was one of my favorite songs too, growing up.
Well, that makes sense.
He would only know that about me. And I know it's not in my brain. Okay. He literally handed me the rose. So I think when people think that I like say personal stuff, like I'm making it up. I'm not making it up. I promise you, I would never make anything like that up.
No.
They're literally in my head doing all this stuff. Okay. So yeah. I think that's it.
Okay. So wait.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so one thing I did want to validate before we jump off there was 2 bodyguards who wrote a book about protecting Michael's like within his last few days or whatever it was. I don't know if one was close friends with him or what. I just kind of like skimmed through it. The bronze statue is in Russia. But there is also another statue. It kind of looks like the bronze one, but it's concrete. and they had to put a fence around it. That is in Austria. So
overseas then.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, what was that?
What?
I hear an echo, but it sounds like a man's voice, not my voice.
Everybody, well, the boys are in the room because they heard me on, so they're
Unless that
the
was.
doors.
No, you'll hear it when you play it back.
Wow.
Okay, so all right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a good Patreon. I might actually have to put that out like after a month or so. We might have to, because that was a good reading. I mean, I think it's something the whole world needs to see.
That was a very good reading.
Hopefully, you
Thank
guys
you.
don't mind that we put it out. So,
Thank you for having me and letting me sit in as a fill-in until Miss Tammy gets back. We miss her very, very much. Hopefully, schedules get back to how they used to be. You know,
we get you both.
So,
Hopefully.
but thank you
All
for
right.
having me here.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.